Hey, fellow Ristopians, welcome back to Ristopia. I'm very excited today. This is, I've just had an idea. I've just thought of the best Rolex prediction for 2023 at Watches and Wonders. So I thought I'd better do a video. I've got, I don't normally lay my watches out in this fashion, or watches out in this fashion, but for the, I'd never really pick a screenshot for the title either. So, but I will do that today because it's going to be this one. So let's quickly turn sideways. I don't care about these. That one I do. So Rolex and Tudor predictions for 2023. Now, where do we start? There's a big one in the title, but I'll come back to that. I think the given for this year is a Tudor Black Bay 41, 39, 36, 31 in steel is going to be upgraded to the in-house movement without the smiley face. I think that is it's a definite. I think there are Tudors that are going to be discontinued. I think that the Black Bay is quite. Let's get some hands going on here because otherwise there's nothing happening. I think I don't have any Black Bay 31s, 41s, etc. here, so I can't show you anything. But hopefully you know what I mean. I think the whole Black Bay range is there's so many and it's very confusing. Black Bay, Tudor, a lot of shops call the Tudor 41, like the non-Black Bay 58s, they call them Black Bay Heritage because they don't have an actual name. They are just Black Bays. So the way I see it is you have the normal Black Bays, which are 41mm. Then you have the Black Bay 50, which don't have a name other than Black Bays. Then you have the Black Bay 58s, which are obviously 58. You have the Black Bay Steel, the Black Bay Pro, the Black Bay 925, which is a BB58 anyway. You have the Black Bay 41, what's going to be 41, 39, 36, 31, which are the non-dive bezel versions, the dressier watches ones, and they're the ones that I think are going to really blow up this year. Now, what do I talk about first? Do I talk about the title? Let's just crack straight on to the purpose. I was more excited about the Black Bay range, the non-dive Black Bay, but let's just get straight into it. So there's a lot of talk of what Rolexes are going to be released this year. Now Rolex obviously did the Deep Sea Challenge in titanium. I think they call it, did they call it ROLEX? I can't remember what they call it. And it's got here we have the previous second best Deep Sea, the Sea Dweller Deep Sea. This is there's three versions of this. Should have done some research before starting the video, but there's three versions. There's the original, the 11 666, and then this is the 12 666, and now there's a more recent 13 666, whatever the model numbers are. Maybe there's some zeros in there, but I'm a big I'm not into Submariners personally. I really like Sea Dwellers. And the Deep Sea to me is pretty much the perfect watch. It's lovely and chunky. It's lovely and big. It's 44 millimeters. I'm not even going to guess what that thickness is, but lovely clasp. Lovely dimensions. The problem with the the 11 series, let's call it, was I think I looked at the 11 series when it came out years ago, but it was just too big. Now this is just as big, but the shoulders are not as big. The problem with the 11 series for me was the shoulders were too big for the lug width and the bracelet. I'm not quite sure on what dimensional change happened there. I'm guessing, does this have a bigger lug width? I've never looked into it, but so this one looks to me, I have a big thing about lug width. I think 21mm lug widths are so needed in a lot of watches. This is obviously 22, I would imagine. But yeah, the lug width on this looks great compared to, this is the 12 series compared to the 11 series, which just looked silly. And then you've got the 13 series. I don't know if anyone has ever called it that, but that's what I'm going to call it. The differences between, I think this is the best deep sea, apart from the James Cameron, which is blue and black. But this is the best deep sea itineration. Is that a word? Because it doesn't have the stupidly big shoulders. Oh, what was it? Not Dallas. What was the other thing? Dallas with. Yeah, you know, the 80s shoulders from the 80s sitcoms that the ladies used to wear. Doesn't have that. What it does have is a dive extension somewhere in there. I'm sure it does have it. You have to push something. You have to push something there. Lovely clasp, but it does have a dive extension. Now, the new one, the 13 series, it doesn't have a dive extension. Now, on a dive watch, I kind of think, even if you're not going to use it, it needs a dive extension for me, which I think is a bit amiss on the new. I've never seen a 13 series deep sea dweller deep sea, but I think it needs a dive extension. Now, the other thing it does have is, I think it's an 8% bigger date window, which would be useful because I'm not a Cyclops fan. So having a date, I'm not really a date window fan, but you know, but if you're going to have a date without a Cyclops, I think it's nice. It would be nice to be 8% bigger. So I think there was one other difference with the 13 series, but yeah, can't think what that was. But overall, I think of the three, I've never seen a 13, but and that's my lucky number. But I think the 12 is probably the best, you know, the best version of the three. But that's not why you're here. We're talking about, it's in the title, Batman Dark Knight. So what's my prediction? So my main prediction for Watches and Wonders 2023 is, I was going to put that on its side. So we have, as I've already mentioned, you've got the Rolex Deep Sea Challenge that's in titanium, ROLEX titanium. It's got a really nice crown that signifies that. So Rolex are now getting into titanium. Here we have Rolex's sister company, TUDOR, who have you know, their whole Pelagos line is titanium, grade 2 titanium. I'm a big Pelagos fan, and you know, so here we have the titanium Pelagos. In the middle, we have a Pagani design, Batman homage. Now, what dawned on me, there's a few things I haven't got a real Rolex Batman, but what dawned on me is there's a few things that are wrong. In my opinion, I think it's a bit dated, the design of the Batman. One is the Cyclops. I really don't like Cyclops, as I've already said, so I don't like the fact that the Batman actually has a Cyclops. Two is the large shoulder, so 20mm lug width here, and that then leaves, I think it's a 40mm diameter case with 20mm lug widths. I think that it leaves, I mean, this obviously isn't the real thing. I think it looks even worse on the real thing. Those shoulders are just too big on the real thing. So, and the third thing is the polished center link. Now, I don't mind the polished center link because I think it differentiates this piece. But how much better would that look if it were satin center links, brushed center links? So there's three things about this watch, although probably four things if you include the actual case diameter. But there's four things about this watch that I think need changing. Now, I had a eureka moment today. It was a bit like Doc from Back to the Future when he realised time travel. People are talking about a titanium sea dweller, probably not a deep sea, but just the regular Sea Dweller, the current Sea Dweller, in titanium. And that would make complete sense. I think that the Submariner does not need to be in titanium. Yeah, but I'm biased because I'm a Sea Dweller fan. So if there's going to be a titanium, I think it needs to be, although we've had the 50th anniversary Sea Dweller, but I think that it needs to be a Sea Dweller, titanium Sea Dweller. But what would be even better than that? Ta-da! They could absolutely perfect this model, the Batman. They could absolutely do that. I mean, it's in the title, Batman Dark Knight. They can beef up the case diameter to 41 mil, make it a millimetre bigger, beef up the lug width to 21 millimetre, get rid of the polished centre links, which you cannot do with titanium, and obviously therefore make it in titanium. It's a darker metal, Batman Dark Knight. They would fix all of the problems with this. It would be a super beefed up Batman. It's kind of like, why has nobody thought of this before? It just seems so obvious to, and I know this is a Pagani design, but it would change 4 things about this watch, and it would make it, I think, the most coveted Rolex in the catalogue. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, because I just cannot believe that someone at Rolex has not thought of this. I can't believe that someone on a YouTuber has not thought of this. Maybe they have, and I just haven't seen their video. But yeah, can you imagine? I'll pop them all down next to each other again. Oh, I don't like putting. Can you imagine the real thing, nearly as beefy as that, but in that metal, in that darkness, with that bezel? Come on, what's not to like? That would be bigger than a Tudor Submariner. Speaking of Tudor Submariner, we need to talk about some other predictions. So we have the Pelagos here. Tudor do not make a steel ceramic bezeled watch. Now, maybe that's because Rolex won't let them, but I think that needs to happen. I think Tudor are transforming in, that wasn't the word I was going to say, but Tudor are transforming into Rolex. I think they're taking the place of Rolex, and I think they're doing that. I think Rolex are becoming quite old manny now, more so than they ever have been. And Tudor are, now is the time to have a steel Tudor with a ceramic bezel. So not matte as in the Pelagos, but maybe a gloss. I know it's ceramic, it's meant to be ceramic on the Pagani design. So basically steel Tudor with a gloss ceramic bezel. I think the easiest way to do that, as they are bigging up the Pelagos range at the moment with the new Pelagos 39, the easiest way to do that is to make a Pelagos steel. They could also make, I think they're going to ditch the fake rivets on the Black Bay range. I think they're just going to die this year. I hope they do. So they could make a Black Bay with ceramic bezel, but I think that as they are bigging up the Pelagos range, it would be easier just to make a Pelagos steel with a gloss ceramic bezel and no date, hopefully. So that's my other prediction for Watches and Wonders. Now I haven't got a Tudor here, so I'm just going to have to hold this Pagani. I've mentioned the Tudor Black Bay 41, 39, 36, 31 already. I think that is, they've already changed to the steel and gold version of that, and I don't think that people really appreciate how fantastic that change has been. It basically has turned a frog into a prince, because the old Tudor Black Bay, they didn't come in those sizes. There was one missing, wasn't there? I can't remember. There were 3 sizes originally, but now they've upgraded the steel and gold, and they've added an extra size. But they've made some significant changes to it, which I'm going to have to show you with this watch. The crown on the old version was very, very, very big, with that silly spacer that the Black Bays tend to have. Looks very tall watchy. It looks bad enough on the bigger watches, but on the ladies' sizes, it just looks really pathetic. They've now sorted that out on the steel and gold, and they've put a much neater looking crown. They have, what else have they done? Well, they have changed there's some other things that they've done as well. Can't think what they are. Let's have a look. And my notes, they have, I'm not going to re-record this, but I think the thing that people have missed is what they've done on the Black Bay is that the case sides were, as everyone calls them, slab-sided. On the new Black Bays, the non-dive watch Black Bays, when you look at the side of the case, it looks like a Rolex Oyster case. And that is those two things, the crown and the side of the case, are two massive differences. I've just remembered what the big thing is. Obviously, it's got an in-house movement now, so it doesn't have the smiley face, has straight text, and it has an in-house movement, which is fantastic with a 70-hour power reserve. But I think that the thing that people miss really is the shape of the case now is much less Tudor and more Rolex. Now, I would say, and I'm sticking my neck out here, but I would say that the Tudor Black Bay 31 for a lady so it doesn't have a date, is a better alternative to a Rolex Datejust. And it's kind of available. I mean, it's in the shops. I know supply is limited, especially the new silver dial that they've introduced. I think when the steel version comes out, Watches and Wonders, I think it's definitely going to happen. At Watches and Wonders, there's going to be a steel Black Bay 41, 39, 36, 31. And they are going to be a bit of a must-have watch, as is the two-tone. I think that the two-tone, the steel and gold Black Bays that Tudor have recently brought out, are going to do more for two-tone watches than any other watch. And I think it is the must-have ladies' watch of this year. I think a lot of ladies like Cartier Tanks and JLC Reversos. I know there's kind of the big 3 watches for ladies seems to be Rolex Datejust, Cartier Tank, JLC Reverso, maybe. The first 2, the Rolex Datejust and the Cartier Tank, big 2. I think the Tudor Black Bay 31 steel and gold, or the steel when it eventually arrives, although that will probably only be on an Oyster style bracelet. Hopefully, it'd be nice if that was on a Jubilee as well. I don't think the old one was ever on a Jubilee. The Black Bay steel was never on a Jubilee style bracelet. That would be a lovely inclusion as well. Get some diamonds on it maybe for the ladies. I'm not a fan of diamonds and precious metals, but I think not on a watch anyway. I think that that is the first. The current Tudor Black Bay 31 is the first Tudor that is actually a better option than a Rolex. I think it's a better option than a Rolex Datejust, and that's sticking my neck out, but I'm a minnow in YouTube land, so I can do things like that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Hopefully the title has captured you. Hopefully I'm the first to suggest a titanium Batman Dark Knight. Hopefully you like my suggestions on the details that should have, the bigger case size and the bigger lug width. Because I think it turns a watch, I think it just would be perfect. I cannot actually think of a better. I mean, I'm a titanium fan. I think there's room for both, but I just think that if any watch would benefit from being a darker metal, surely it's got to be the Rolex Batman Dark Knight. Well, one wrist. Looking forward to watching some wonders. Live it, baby.